Hi, gay. Hi, welcome to the No Bueno podcast. So, today, this is gonna be the Pride podcast. Not the Pride podcast, this is gonna be the Pride episode because we're in Pride Month and you're gay. So, I'm kidding. So, today, we're gonna talk about what's it like being gay, like growing up, fraternity life, social life, what's it like just today, dating life. Let me go through like the list because I have kind of a lot. And the community of being gay, post life with coming to terms, hookup culture. We are going to get into it. I am going to be airing out everyone and their mom's business today, so stay tuned. What's it like, coming to terms with your own sexuality? And this is not to be a real, if you need like real help advice, definitely go get that. But I'm just here to just talk to you and shed some light, share my experiences on what's it like growing up, and this I wouldn't take this as professional help, honestly. I just love to hear myself talk, and I just want to share my experiences because I experienced quite a lot, and I literally just got like war flashbacks, like quite a lot, to where I feel like I could have a decent input on sharing my life. So anyways, what's it like, coming terms, like growing up? So for me personally, this isn't a coming out video, by the way. I'm not gay. But anyways, for me, I didn't think I liked guys. I would say I was pretty straight until maybe 10th and 11th grade. I had girlfriends throughout middle school and high school. So anyways, I was just a very busy kid. I did track, I did sports growing up. I did theater, chorus, student government. I did a lot of very active things. I had started a mental wellness club. I did a lot of stuff to where my own sexuality wasn't really a thought in my head. It was kind of very much like an afterthought for me, but I don't know, to each their own. But I was just a very busy kid, so that thought just didn't really process and come to my mind at that time. But, when I was 17 to 18, I was like, oh, maybe I like guys or whatever. So, and I would say still I'm like probably like 80-20 that I like both, and that's allowed. You are allowed to like you are allowed to like whoever you like, I would say. And there's even some girls that do like guys that are a little bit gay. I don't know why, but that's just preferences. Like, I don't know. When I explained this to my mom, she was like, okay, like, no, like you're either one or the other. And personally, me, that just doesn't really make sense. Like, you're not going to tell me like my own sexuality. Like, that doesn't really make sense. And I'm allowed to like who I like to like. From what I can say, I didn't have my own serious boyfriend until senior year of like high school, to where it was just like, I'm gay, like I like guys. Like I don't think I went out and like made posts or whatever. I kind of just slightly, made my way into the scene a little bit. It's how I could describe it. So what could I say about growing up in a conservative household? Because my dad from Cuba is very far right, ideally. Guys shouldn't really be marrying guys, but he is coming around and coming to terms with it, and is a little bit more accepting than he was probably like maybe 5 years ago. But yeah, honestly. And same thing with my mom, is that she is allowed to be like, she is not far right, but she is right progressive a little bit. That she has gay friends in her past, so she was a little bit more experienced with handling this info. So she was like very much of a insulator between me and my dad's relationship. So she was kind of like back and forth, like helping me, but also like helping him keep his sanity a little bit. And one thing that I could tell you guys is that people are allowed to think whatever they're allowed to think. They're allowed to have their own ideals, and that's just the way things are. Like, you can't force someone to think a certain way just because you want them to think a certain way. And I think the one thing that you could take away is have respect for each other. And when there's respect, you guys are kind of like on the same like playing field of, I won't bother you if you won't bother me. And I think that's very much me and my dad's relationship right now, is that we are still, it's like, I respect your boundaries if you respect my boundaries, kind of thing. So that's how I could say about it. And even my brother, he again he's not far right but right progressive, is that he also was very accepting of me. I'm his brother, and he's always going to be in my corner, and that's something that he told me. He's going to love me forever, And like you, like I think I like I'm an only like sibling brother, so we have a lot of respect for each other, is what I can say. And there's been certain scenarios where he was like, "Oh, like I don't think I would have handled it that way," and I would have done this, I would have done that. Like, don't worry, Clay. Like, it's fine. Like, and the way that I could also help too is that whatever happens yesterday was yesterday, and the only thing that you can do is move forward onto the next day. Next day is a brand new day, clean slate. Whatever happened the other day. It's a brand new day, and just keep moving forward. And that's the way that I kind of thought throughout like high school and like certain scenarios, like even when I got in trouble in school, and just doing like a few other side quest activities that I won't name right now. But the way that I could tell myself to keep going is that tomorrow is a new day, and whatever happened yesterday. But the one thing that you can't do is hold grudges towards people, maybe, but like you can't hold grudges towards people to grow, if that makes sense, in my own opinion. And even my parents didn't really think I was gay, like, because again, I said I was like really busy with school stuff. Like, I actively like did a lot of things to where it clearly wasn't a thought on their minds either until like towards the end of like my time and when I started coming to terms with it. But yeah. So anyways, we're gonna talk about just college life and like being gay. Thank God, I think everybody flourishes when they're far from home, and that's because you're not with those rules anymore. You're allowed to do what you want to do. You are allowed to talk to whoever you want to do with not those, thoughts of, my parents being upset with me. I mean, they may be, but like, they're not here. They can't stop me. But, okay, college life. So I joined a fraternity because it changed my brother's life for the better way. And he used to be like this very like, not social, didn't really go out kind of person, like wasn't really a party person. Now he's like, he won't shut up if like you talk to him. He's really nice. Yeah, so like I saw like what of a positive impact it made on his life, and I was like, okay, well, I want to join a fraternity. And the benefits of joining a fraternity is that there's networking, you get social skills, you can make connections with people, and you're also going to be surrounded with people who think the same way. And it's just a very good place to grow as a human being. And I have plenty of friends who are in their own sororities and fraternities, and I think they all could come to agreement of that's the good part about it. There obviously are some bad parts about it, but what's it like rushing as a gay guy? Honestly, the one thing that I want to do is I wanted to fit in. I wasn't gonna, show up to rush like in some baby tees or some like booty shorts or anything like that. I wanted to dress the part of just a normal guy because that's pretty much what it is, honestly. So I wore like jeans or whatever. I wore jeans, or just sometimes I wore shorts with shirts. Like I wore basically this. I fit into the role of what they were probably looking for. And yeah, so obviously I did rush my brother's fraternity. I wanted to rush a few others because I was just interested to see like what I could do. I saw myself being in an area where I felt more comfortable, and I definitely felt that with some other houses to where I wasn't, very comfortable being at anymore. And that's okay, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a scenario where you think you want to be in, and put yourself in these situations where you're clearly not meant to be in. So I'm not gonna force myself to be in a area where I'm clearly not wanted, because that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. It will become very toxic and it'll build up. Honestly, rushing, there's no problem with it. Just because you're gay, it doesn't really define you as a person. You are allowed to have other hobbies. You are allowed to do other ways. Just because you're gay, it's not really your main personality, in my own opinion. Which is why I felt comfortable rushing, because it just happened to be like a little part of me, It wasn't like I was like flamingly gay or whatever. Like, I mean, maybe to each their own, but yeah. So when I rushed, I didn't really have a problem with anything. Nobody, bullied me. No one hazed me, thank God. But it's like nobody treated me different because I was gay. But when I did make it through the process, I did find out that there was an individual that I literally aired out last night, but he wasn't really comfortable with me rushing, because he was like, well, what about like the stuff that you post online? and you know, like, how is that going to represent us a little bit? But it's like, have you seen my IG? Like, I got, like, I don't know, my IG's like really good. I don't want to like kiss my own ass, but like, which, I mean, I did like come to terms with that person. It's like, people again are allowed to think how they're allowed to think, but you know, fuck you for that. Anyways, that's what I could say is pretty much rushing fraternity in that aspect. So now we are going to go with the social life of being, you know, gay and like in college and hanging out with people. I thank God I found like my own friends of, you know, in that community who do like me, and I mean, to my knowledge, that do like me. And you know, and that's the same thing again, don't put yourself in a certain friend group where you just feel like you're not wanted, or where it's not really the best beneficial for your well-being to be in. So yeah, and I'm gonna tell you about like a few other stories that I have about it, but yeah. So when I came to college, obviously there's like those I had like a UCF 2025 page, and I was just, you know, posting my thing. So I met people through there of that I like, oh, like I want to be friends with them. Anyways, there was this group of friends that I genuinely liked them all. I was Instagram friends with them. We were always talking, but I never really met them like in person. And I have gotten like invited to like a few of their parties, so it's not like we weren't necessarily friends, but we weren't like friends is how I could describe it. Almost, we just happened to be in the same community, and we were like, oh, okay, like we can be friends. I don't know. So yeah, so there was this one friend group. Not saying I would have died to be in, like I would have loved to be in, but like it would have been a good job, it would have been a good part for me to be in it. But you know, again, don't put yourself in a scenario where you don't see yourself fitting. And I remember that his name is like, if you see him on my IG following, but that person constantly posts about like acceptance and whatever, like being nice. So anyways, so I remember when I was going to the bar, and I don't know if this is maybe how I perceived it, but honestly, you can like let me know like how you perceive it, and just let me know in the comments. But I was at the bar with my friends, and we split up for like a split second, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go find them, I'm gonna go like look around for them. So as I'm walking around the bar, I run into this person, and they're like, oh, like, where are all your friends? I was like, what? Oh my god. So it's like, I don't know if I perceived that as someone being bitchy or like almost sizing me up. That's how I viewed it a little bit. And yeah, it's just, it was a little weird, honestly, and it like put a little weird taste in my mouth. But yeah, so anyways, same thing with this friend group too. When I broke up with my ex, obviously he's really gorgeous. I'll give him that. I won't be a hater, but he was obviously still active, like going to bars and stuff. So this is where my thought friend group met him. Turns out the entire time they were like asking him to like hang out. Like there was this one individual, they like asking him to hang out, like come over, they wanted to do stuff together. And it just was weird, because it's like, I thought my friends, usually, I mean, I may be wrong, but like I'm a girl's girl now, like, you know, don't get with your friends' exes, like that's just a common rule of them, I would say. However, not with this friend group, and that's with also with gays just in general, is that when they find out you have a boyfriend, they'll do everything in their power to kind of get with them, which is so weird, but I don't know. So yeah, they were like inviting him to go out and like do a bunch of stuff, and I confronted him about it, posting it, i.e. online, and I was like, this person, XXX, you are not a good friend to me. How could you do this behind my back? Even like when I found out that he had a boyfriend, I stopped talking to that friend, because I was like, oh my god, like I don't want to protrude on anything, like I don't want to overstep the line, because I'm your friend. Like that's what friends do. We don't get with each other's exes. Anyways, not with these people. So yeah, so when I confronted them about it, I put them on blast, because I was drunk, I was upset. I thought like my friends who were in my community were supposed to like, you know, support me and also be in my corner, but I don't ever think they were really ever in my corner to begin with. Even with another scenario, so there was this one guy that I hung out with, and he is like this little Twitter star, like, you know, if you know what Twitter star is, if you know, you know. And you know, he had a lot older group. He was more on the older side, older 20s. Not older, he was like 24, honestly. He wasn't even that old. But when I was hanging out with him, something that he said kind of really off, like, put me for a second, because he was like, well, our friend group is extremely cliquey. Like, it's really hard to be part of the friend group. A lot of people want to be a part of the friend group, but, you're just never ever going to be a part of the friend group. And I was like, okay, like, why are you telling me this? And he's like, yeah, like, we're such a really close and accepting friend group, but it's like almost impossible to get inside the circle. And once you're in the circle, like, it's fun, but it's like, I don't even think you'd be like a main. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why would somebody tell me this information? So I would say that I've had my own fair share of toxic gay people, and they're still around. Like, they're always going to be around, and those are just people who are going to be those kind of people. There are going to be people who simply just don't want to be your friend because you're just not pretty enough, because you're not to their type liking, you just don't fit, like, their own personal brand or aesthetic. Like, whoever thinks that way, kindly go fuck yourself, because I don't know. Not I don't know, but like, that's so, like, stupid. Like, even I don't do that. I mean, maybe when I was like 18 and I had that thought, but again, I was 18, I was young, I was allowed to think because I didn't know anything. But now that I'm older and I get to think, and I get to sit down and like think about that conversations that I had with all of those individuals, and I was like, yeah, I would never do that in my life. Thank God I found my own separate group of friends, because they would never do anything of the sort to us. Like, we have our own typings, like, we go out a lot. Like, there's nothing that we would do to overstep the line. Like, we have the same, I mean, maybe like I'm just a sane person and I happen to meet like very insane people along the way, but thank God I met sane people, shout out Zeb, that that like we have the same mutual respect. Like, we text each other like, oh, I'm talking to this person, are you talking to them? And if they are, I'll stop, or maybe they'll stop, or we just like to notify each other like who we're talking to. And I think surrounding yourself with, even like, I don't even have to have the most gay friends in the world. Like, that is totally fine. I'd rather have and that's the thing with those friend groups too, is that I would rather have a strong 2-person 3 friend group of gays than be surrounded by a bunch of gays who are very toxic and who aren't even my friend probably to begin with. So yeah, that's pretty much what I could say in that aspect. So thank God I surrounded myself with people that I like and who like me. So yeah, okay, hookups. We can talk about hookups. Unfortunately, I can't count how many people I've hooked up with in my life that are guys. So that's not really good to like say, but I don't know. That's how I kind of really experimented at all. And hookup culture, I didn't realize how how fast things get around in the community. Because if you do one thing, someone's gonna know. And it's like so weird, because even like I have like a few gay brothers in my fraternity, and like we talk constantly about like the community and like who's doing what, like who's doing what, like what's doing what. Like, we know everything travels fast. So I wish I was more selective when I was a lot, like maybe like 3 years ago, of who I got with. And hookup culture is weird. Something that I actually ran into the other day is that there was these people in an open relationship, and they're like, well, we're looking. To me personally, an open relationship, a lot of people probably think open relationships are probably the best relationship. Maybe, but personally me, I would, one, be mortified if my partner asked me to be in a open relationship, because it's almost like, well, do you not like me? Like, what am I not satisfying? Like, what's the problem? Like, what? I would think that there is something wrong with me that they would want out of someone else. And if I can't provide it, I would just be like, okay, like, I'm clearly not wanted here. I don't want to be in it. 2, open relationship is not real love. I love something that's intimate. Like, once, like, you're mine, you're mine. Like, I love exclusivity. And, I kind of started, even dating culture. Like, I stepped away from hookup culture because it's kind of not really that healthy, honestly, because you don't know who's getting with who and like what diseases are getting with what. And I just had somebody who I had to get like a little shot because they were like, oh, like, I have this. And I was like, what the fuck? And this whole entire time they're like talking about like being exclusive with me, but then again, they're still doing their own separate thing. Doesn't really like make sense in my head. And also, even that happened to my friend too the other day. So hookup culture is very dangerous, I would say. Not dangerous, but it's like you have to be. The one thing that I would say is that I wish I was a little bit more selective with what I did, honestly. And obviously you won't understand that until way after you do something, in my opinion. So, next. Yeah, personally, yeah, that's what I could just say on that topic with like gay hookups and relations. And it's weird because when I would be talking to my friends about it, they'd be like, "Oh, my friend is like very rude towards people that like want to get with him." And I was like, "Well, like why would you do that? Like that's kind of mean, that's kind of bitchy." Um and it's like I feel like at sometimes I may be doing that, but that's kind of also preference at the same time. People are allowed to have their own preference, but I'd rather you just tell me from the start than kind of just dangle like, this like a carrot in my face a little. And anyways, moving on from hookup culture, I'm starting to do a little bit better. Honestly, I need to like take care of my health a little bit more too, which is why I'm starting to date a little bit more. I mean, I'm not really like dating, but I'm trying to treat normal relationships like, normal relationships. So don't hook up on the first date, don't, be easy to get with. You know, treat people like normal people, like take them on dates. I want to start a relationship like a real relationship, if that makes sense. I'm tired of just hooking up with someone and then be like, we're in love. Like, that happens so often in the community that it's just not healthy for me. And I think that also, like, came to me when I will say I did talk to my ex the other day. Not the other day, like maybe 2 weeks ago. And I was just like, hey, like, this isn't healthy for me to be around. Like, I need to grow forward. Like, I definitely, like, need to move on. And I think that's when I started picking up, moving on. And I don't know, it's just I just didn't want to be a part of hookup culture anymore because I genuinely want to find somebody that I like, and I would love to marry someone. Like, my I see my family and my friends getting like engaged, and they're all experiencing love at some point, and it's like I want that for my own self, and I don't want to treat it, and I just don't think I would find love that way. And also, I was talking to my friend about this. I was like, what good love story starts with, oh, he was toxic, oh, like, he cheated on me, like, oh, like, he's hugging with other people while also talking, like, that's just not love, in my opinion. If so, I want to find something that is real, something that is beneficial, and that I'm in love. I want to be head over heels for someone, or head over Nike Dunks, like, whatever the hell. Like, I want to find like actual love. And I think on Valentine's Day is what I started that a little bit. Like, I wanted to take this guy out. Like, I took him out. We went on a few dates. So it's like I was starting to get in the way of, dating life a lot better than I used to be, I would say. Because I think my first boyfriend, hi Michael, I think we hooked up, and then within the first 2 weeks we were like, we're gonna date. Like, that was so, why did I do that? But I think we were just both looking for something very urgently at that time, and that's why we were somewhat attracted towards each other, and that's why what happened. And we dated on and off for like 2 years. We had cheating scenarios, or not cheating scenarios, but we had cheating problems. We were like falling in and out of love. Like, I was also still young. Like, we were attracted to other people at the same time while still being in love. It was just a very, I would like to say that it was a perfect relationship, but at the same time, I just don't think it was either. And there were some good parts, and there also were some bad parts. And unfortunately, it led to me, not unfortunately led to me, but I ended up cheating on him, and I will say that out loud. And I don't walk around with the medal of it. I am somewhat ashamed. I will always have that, guilt, honestly. And I've explained this to him so many times to where he had such an impact on my life with me coming to terms with my own sexuality, like how to handle certain scenarios with family. Like, he was there for advice. Like, he was, again, 7 years older than me, which is like, we'll also talk about that later, but he was a lot older than me to where I looked up to him a little, and I valued his opinion and advice. So I think that's also why I kind of stuck around very long, and until recently I was like, hey, like, this isn't healthy for me. Like, I need to move on. I need to be a better person. I need to grow. I can't be having these thoughts. I can't be drunk calling you. I can't be drunk texting you. I just didn't want to embarrass myself anymore, and I was just like, all right, like, I need to move on. So I will never ever talk bad about him, and I've told him this so many times that, you were just such a very big impact in my life to where I just would not say anything negative about you. I wouldn't talk trash about you. I would never make up rumors about you. I mean, there are some people that, because I didn't want to be with them, they make up rumors about me, or they spelled my own personal business from, or they steal shit from me. Like, oh my god, like, I left a klepto in my room. Like, and he, like, stole this bracelet. Like, if you see it, it's, like, the Tory Burch one. Like, he stole a version of it, but, you know, it was just so bad. From what I could say about, you know, being in that relationship is that its time was there, and it was something that I'll always value, but I think that's obviously in the past now, and the way to grow is to move forward. And again, don't hold grudges, don't hold resentment towards people. I think the only way that you can grow as a person is if you just move on and come to terms with whatever happened, but the one thing that you can do is move forward and take that lesson and learn from it. Pretty much like all I really wanted to say about this scenario. And this may be like a little small episode, but I can always do a lot more in-depth details. I just kind of wanted to get a few things off my chest and explain what I was thinking, and had a few thoughts of, explain like coming to terms growing up, being gay, like, oh my god, like, I just also like wanted to talk about like growing up with a conservative family and how you can handle that. Same thing with coming to terms with your own sexuality. I even would say that I was pretty active, like, and I didn't have those thoughts when I was a young kid of like, oh, like I might be gay. Like, I had those thoughts when I was old enough to understand that. Even post-life, dating, gay hookup culture, everything I could explain to you. I have a lot more tea, but honestly, I'm going to just keep it very simple, very light, because I love hearing myself talk, and like when I edit this, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, so I'm trying to pick the least digital footprint responses right now, but yes. Anyways, fraternity life, being gay, honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's not your whole entire personality. It's just a little aspect of your life. And there are certain degrees to lower levels of gayness, I would say, because I do have, again, a few brothers that are gay. I have friends in other fraternities that are gay, and we're all with different levels, I would say, of gay. Like, it's not our main personality. And as I could say, as being the gay guy, honestly, gay guys bring hot girls. So it's like, the one benefit that we can bring you is hot girls and amazing social skills, and which is why I'm like their social chair now. And because I have strong relationships with girls, I'm very easy to talk to girls. Like, I know what they're thinking. I know when there's certain scenarios that go down, I'm like, I tell my brothers sometimes, I'm like, hey, you should not have done that. You should have handled it this way. They're thinking this way, and I think like I'm a good communicator with what is going on exactly on both sides. And yeah, and that's something that like a really good benefit about that of being like a gay member at a fraternity is that you can help not only check some people when you need to, but also it's just that we bring a lot. And I hate how people are like, well, are you in a gay fraternity? Like, what does that mean? Like, what does gay fraternity like even mean? And I would say out of all of my members, maybe 5 of us are, and that's out of like maybe like 70, I would say. So I don't know, that I don't know, to me that just doesn't really make sense in my head about that stigma. So that's what I could say about like, being gay in a fraternity life. Honestly, there are going to be some haters. There's going to be some people that honestly that are going to be kind of jealous of how fast you build relationships, or how well you move throughout the community of talking to people. Like, I get access to some things that some other members generally wouldn't normally get the opportunity. Like, I think, like, I would say that I've done a decent help on helping build relationships with them. Like, I had a Zeta Little, I had a Katie Little. I think I was the first to ever do that at my fraternity. Like, I'm helping them talk to like these girls, I'm helping extending them, and I'm not taking full credit for everything either, but I would say that I was kind of like a little bit of a bridge way for them to get those relations, if that makes sense. And some people may completely disagree with my statement, but personally that's how I feel about it. And yeah, like obviously I'm allowed to think about how I'm allowed to think, honestly. So yeah, and then even like college life, wow, college life is just all over the place. But the one thing I could say is surround yourself with a friend group that you want to be surrounded with, who has the same rules as you and like has the same respect as you, and who respects you as a person, who doesn't talk bad about you, because I would never talk bad about my friends. And there are just some friend groups that kindly just do it because are just really mean just to be mean, and some like post about being so accepting and that they love everybody and love everybody, but in actuality they're probably one of the meanest people that you will ever meet, and they just don't respect you. They'll talk to your ex, they will, you know, say mean things, they will make snarky comments like out at the bars. Like that's so weird. Like I to me that just does not make sense in my head. Shoot me if I'm wrong, but I would rather surround myself with a small group of people who do have those same ideals than a large group of people to where it's just so messy and you just don't care about anything like that. Like to me, I would kill my friend if I found out they were talking to my ex, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know. But good thing I surrounded myself with people now who, you know, respect me for me. So, and like have those same rules, and thank God we don't have the same type, or that'd be a huge problem. But yeah, so anyways, just surround yourself with a community of people. And honestly, it takes time to find, you know, it takes time to find friends who do like you for you. And the one thing you want to do, the one thing that I would say that you don't want to do is put yourself in an area that you don't want to be in, or that you should not be in. Like don't force yourself to be in a friend group where you're clearly not wanted to be in, because the one thing, because that's just not beneficial for you, and it becomes very toxic. It's not healthy for you, and it's just something that doesn't, you know, it's just something that doesn't grow you to be a better person in the long run. So so being with toxic friend groups, being with OnlyFans Twitter friend groups, I mean, people are allowed to do whatever they're allowed to do, but sometimes those people are quite frankly the most toxic, I would say. And that was the same thing about like, oh, like people would love to be in our friend group, but like it's hard to get in our friend group, but once you're in the friend group it's so much fun. But normally we don't really think that people should be in our friend group. So it's like, how are you going to say that you're really accepting, but in actuality you're really not? But I don't know. To each their own. So that's basically just a few talking points that I wanted to talk to you guys about this podcast. It may be kind of a little bit short. I didn't want to post a really long one because I don't really think my camera can hold that either, but I just wanted to air out a few things and just talk about and give some insight and, you know, chit chat with you, give you a little bit more in depth with my life and like what's it like growing up. What is it like being me? Like, I don't know. I just wanted to share my experiences because I've experienced quite a lot. And yeah, so anyways, I could definitely release a more in-depth one, but for now, I just wanted to do surface level, mild, a little bit below surface level area topics. If you like this little episode, I can definitely post more videos, so let me know down below in the comment section if you like it, if I helped you with any problems or any questions that maybe you might have had with maybe rushing from fraternity as a gay guy. What's it like growing up with conservative parents? What's it like, you know, growing up just coming to terms with your own sexuality? And I would at the end of the day, I would say all of that just takes time. For right now, I just wanted to give my little pride episode and, you know, just see like what's up and like tell everybody like what I'm thinking. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video, so be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Or next podcast. I haven't done that outro in so long. Oh my god.